We have another young Indian with us, part of the Voice of the Young series. Hello, everyone. Good to be back. Right now, we have with us Anwesha Das. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Anwesha.
Hello, sir. My name is Anwesha Das. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. Really looking forward to have an insightful conversation with you today. And I'm from Ranchi, Jharkhand. I am currently working as a risk analyst at the American Express. Before this, I did my master's in economics from the Delhi School of Economics, and I completed my graduation in economics from Delhi College of Arts and Commerce, DU. I did my schooling from DPS Ranchi, where I had science with economics in 11th and 12th. Along with my academics, I am a trained dancer. I am trained in Bharatanatyam and Hindustani classical music. I'm
Wow.
really grateful to my parents for that they enrolled me in all of these extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Because I feel that they really, shape you as an individual, and they are important to just, help you break that mold. Like in my office, in our first introductory session, they asked me to sing. So it's a nice icebreaker. And yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Okay, so let's continue.
Sure. Yeah. And so during my graduation, initially I thought that I'll take up economics so that I can pursue UPSC. I had that in my mind. I'll have economics as my optional, and I had my plans fixed. So I started reading NCRTs and everything. But when I started my bachelor's in economics, so when I read the subject matter, and in that year, Abhijit Banerjee won the Nobel Prize. So I got my hands on that poor economics, and it took me a few months to understand and read that book. But that really opened up my mind, and it just helped me realize the scope of economics. Like, it is not just a tool or just any other branch of social science. It is something that you can really use to empower people, you can use to shape important decisions. And I had no idea how broad economics is and how dynamic economics is. And then I was in DU, so you get a lot of exposure there. You have placements, data science, data analytics was a big thing back then. And even Abhijit Banerjee and all, they stressed on this thing of, data backed evidence, based policy making and everything. So that really, intrigued me so much that I dropped my UPSC preparation and completely, focused on my curriculum. And I was very lucky to have excellent professors of micro, macro, econometric stats, and that's all you need. My foundations were set well. And then I saw my seniors got into DSE. When they got into DSE, I thought that I should also try for the entrance exams. And luckily, I got in. And DSE was again a different world altogether. It is such an humbling experience. Like, I've never in my life thought that I would be so scared scared about failing in a paper. Like, I never thought I could fail. But game theory and all of these papers, they really, they break your ego, and they just tell you that you're never good enough and you have to work so hard. But DSC was great in its own way. Like, though we didn't have extracurricular activities or the society culture that my undergraduation college offered me, but still, I was lucky to have excellent friends. So we are like 6 or 7 friends who prepared for entrances together, and we made it to DSC together.
Wow,
So
that's something great. Right.
yeah, so we had each other's back, and we all supported each other throughout the college. And that is something that, like, if any junior asks me like how to survive DSE, the first thing is that you don't have to survive DSE, just live it. And second, have a good bunch of people who are, there to take your doubts and to just happy for each other, because it is a competitive place. It is a competitive place. So if you have a good bunch of friends, it really makes your life easier. And then professors like JB Meenakshi ma'am, and all of those people whose readings we used to study in our undergraduation, they teach us there at D school. So
Yeah.
it was a surreal experience, learning from them firsthand.
Yeah.
And there were papers that made me cry, but there were papers that made me so grateful that, okay, I'm getting this opportunity to study. Yeah.
Why did they make you cry? Because it was so hard?
Yeah, game theory still continues to haunt me. I think if given a choice, I would still go back to reschool, but not appear that game theory paper. Other than that, I would still like,
Okay.
you give me an opportunity and I'll go back to
All
reschool
right.
anyway.
Okay. All right. So it was fun overall. I mean,
Yeah.
you made it and you got through. And what made you go for the kind of job that you have?
So when I was at D school, I saw like it was a very technical course,
Yeah.
mathematics and statistics and econometrics. It was a really technical course. And then the kind of opportunities that came, like majority of the companies that come to D school are for analytics only. And then you have a few consulting and finance profiles. So I saw that, whatever I'm studying, I think analytics was this one field where I felt that there's this one-to-one sort of correspondence with the course that I'm studying, the rigorous course that I'm studying, and uh, I felt that it would be a good application. And I've always wanted to be good at, coding, and data is one thing that I feel it's so powerful, and using data to make decisions. It could be any decisions, business decisions or social decisions or whatever. So I feel that corporate and data analytics is would be a good way for me to pick up these skills really quickly, be good at it. And then I'm open to a lot of other opportunities beyond this as well. Also, American Express, particularly, it was one of the most sought after companies in our campus. It was known for its, work culture. And when I came here, I realized that correctly, rightfully so. And what makes me really happy to work here is that I find so many women, like women in tech field, women in finance, women taking up high positions in corporate field, though it should be the norm, but it isn't. So that made me really happy that there's something in this place that makes them stay for so long. So yeah, I really wanted to work there, and I'm glad that I made it there.
Okay. Wonderful. So how did you decide to go from Ranchi to Delhi?
Oh, that's a very interesting story, actually. So, when in Ranchi, so my father is an engineer, and we used to stay in this colony where everybody, like everyone is an engineer, and everybody's kids go on to become engineers or doctors. And so growing up, I only saw that. And that was, we were conditioned into believing that these two fields are the only way to, to have a good life,
Yeah,
basically.
basically.
But I was never good at science. Like till 10th, it was fine. It was easy. So I managed, but I was not good at it. And I realized, thankfully, I have this strong sixth sense that I realized that what I'm not good at. And I realized that pretty quickly that I'm not good at it. And if I take up engineering, I would just be average. Like I would not be able to do good in that field. And I would not enjoy, most importantly. So I thought of taking up humanities after 11th and 12th, but my school didn't offer humanities. And it was the best school of Ranchi, but still we didn't have humanities. So that was the kind of environment there. Like the sciences, there was so much focus on that. But uh, then I saw one of my seniors who was an excellent student, head girl of our school, sure shot to get into IIT and all. She chose to study economics. So the entire school and everyone was shocked that how come this such good student is, wasting her talent, not going for engineering, but going for economics. So that made me think that, okay, there are career options beyond this, and good students choose to take up things other than these. And my mother has a degree in economics as well. So she has never forced me, or never in fact told me to pursue, coaxed me to pursue, get into this field. But she has been really passionate about economics. So she keeps discussing about it. I never paid attention before, but growing after I reach a particular stage, when you seriously think about your career, I had discussions with my mother, with my seniors. I had a good bunch of economics teachers at my school as well. When I discussed with them, I realized that I was good at maths and I liked social sciences. I was not good at science or accountancy or anything. So I found that economics just seemed that this perfect blend of like my interests and strengths. They just aligned perfectly with this discipline.
Mhm.
And UPSC is something that every middle class child just dreams of. So I thought I'll pursue economics and then appear for UPSC. It was after I started doing graduation, then I realized that economics is not just a tool to, crack some government exam, what will help me crack a government exam, but it is in itself, it is so huge and there's so many opportunities in this field itself. So DU happened to me, like, again, DU was the best like DU had one of the best colleges for economics in this country. I used to see the news about the cutoffs and everything. So DU was always in the news. And my senior, she got into DU only for economics honors. So I thought I will study there no matter what.
Okay.
Also, DSE, I came to know in 12th, like after 12th, that DSE had this thing where they have merit-based admission system. So if you are among the top few students, you directly get into D school, which is why, like, I got into a few other colleges as well. But that was another pull factor that uh, made me come to Delhi, and I don't regret that decision one bit. Even though my college, like undergraduation college, was not among the elite colleges of DU, but I was so lucky to have such amazing professors. And I still refer to my professor's econometrics notes sometimes. And yeah, I was so glad to have made it to DU, even if it was not an elite college.
Okay. Any cultural activities in Delhi? Co-curricular?
Yeah, I was a part of the music society of our college. I was the lead vocalist in that
Lead
society.
vocalist. What? Singing what?
In the Hindustani classical music.
Okay,
So
Hindustani classical.
yeah,
So you had a
yeah.
good
So
training.
I had around 8 years of training in classical music. So we had a Western Music Society and an Indian Music Society. So I was the lead vocalist in the Indian Music Society, and we would compete in AIMS, IITs, and other colleges of DU. So that was again a great experience. Like, I would just go to college, attend the lectures, and then go for music society practice. And that was my entire college. Like, after that, we had COVID, and
So
things.
did the college have a music teacher, or how did this society work?
So in our college, we didn't, unlike a lot of colleges, you have this co-curricular quota, the cultural quota, wherein they have uh, a few seats just for students who are good at music and whatever. So those students, if you have them, like, they have to be active in cultural activities. Their admission is conditional.
Yeah,
But in our college, we didn't have that. So it was purely based out of, student initiative. Like,
yeah.
if students are not active, nobody will, care about it. College admin didn't care. We didn't have any teacher. It was completely student run. There was one student like 4 years back who decided to have this music society. And that is how it started. And it is still continuing. And in fact, most of the people in our society were not trained in music, but we would still win a few competitions, and it was fun.
So where is the money? Did it have any money at all, or it was free?
No,
No money.
no money.
No money. Okay. So is it
Students would, that is the thing about, I think, DU in general, DU colleges in general, like, students, you don't have any support as such, like admin support, or and a lot of times, to be very honest, it was actually a hindrance. The admin would actually be a hindrance. So everything was student run, from placements to, every college fests that have such high budgets, like, student, they raise sponsorships. So you approach different companies or startups that will, post your will promote you and whatever in exchange of some money. Obviously, it was easier for top colleges. For us, it was difficult, but that is what, I like about DU, is that it teaches you to be completely independent.
okay? It's wonderful to hear that you manage, the students are doing these societies on their own, but at least the college let you use some room and all, right? So you could meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. And what about musical instruments? You brought your own, or it was just singing or playing, or what? I mean, just curious.
So musical instruments, I think college gives some money, around 10,000 or something, which is very low. Like, that is like the prize money. Like, in fact, more, like, if you around 20 to 25,000 is given only for prize money to one team. So that is very less. But yeah, college gives in some money, and with that, our seniors only, they purchased harmonium and in fact for keyboard and tabla, so students would only bring that. Our
Yeah.
college didn't provide that.
Oh.
So we had a tabla wala in our batch, but after that, I'm not sure who is the tabla wala, really.
Good. So wonderful. It was still a great, and it's co-educational college, right? As you said, there was
Yeah,
some,
yeah. It is a co-educational college.
but
Yeah.
the school in Ranchi, that was not co-educational.
It was also
It was
co-educational.
also co-educational. Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right. So any hints for juniors?
Juniors, in D school or in
Anywhere. It's your call. What, your experience, what tips do you want to pass on?
I think the only tip that I have, is that don't, follow herd behavior. Like, apply your own brain, do some research, especially when it comes to your career, when it comes to your career choices. Do not follow the herd and just research a little bit, talk to people, because you will be spending, I don't know how many years, like 60, 70 years of your life doing something. And if you're not passionate about it, if you do not enjoy it, then it is not good for anyone.
Okay.
So just do a lot of research, think what you're good at, see what your strengths are, try to align them with your interests, be very curious, and just do not fall for anything that way. I feel so glad that, growing, it was easy for me to just go and take engineering. But at that time, uh, people said a lot of things that, you couldn't clear JE, so you're going for economics. And they say that, okay, what will you do after this? And especially in my graduation, after graduation, the placements were not that good. So people would ask me, so if you don't get a job, if you don't get into D school or whatever college, what will you do? So my only answer at that point was, I'll do something. The important thing is that I like what I do, so I'll figure out eventually. So that is the thing, that don't run after like, it is good to have a long-term goal, but if you enjoy the process, you will reach somewhere and you will be very satisfied with it. So that is my advice to the junior.
Okay, that's very good advice. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself, and don't worry about other things. If you're good, if you're passionate, it will happen to you, right?
Yeah. And explore everything. Just explore everything. Like during my graduation, again, I thought that I'll do UPSC, but when I saw that, okay, economics, the skills that this subject inculcates you with is so transferable. It is transferable to data analytics, transferable to finance, to consulting, to, public policy, and, marketing. Like every field has some or the other aspect of, economics. Engineering students are taught economics for a
Yeah.
reason. So which is why I did a bunch of finance events at my college. I did a few research internships, and I tried to learn coding. I did everything just to figure out what really sails my boat.
Yeah.
So that is another advice I would say. Just try everything before, it is good to be fixated on something, but just sometimes you should try other things. What if, like, the thing that you're fixated on
Hmm.
might not be the best thing for you. If you don't try, you don't know. That is the thing.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
tried finance and all. I didn't have interest in it. So
Yeah.
I moved to something else. And that is how, in the end, I figured out maybe, yeah, data analytics seems like a nice space for me. And I still feel that I have not, I don't know if this is where I want to be. I'm still figuring out. So you should be, open to figuring out. There's nothing like and there's no like destination. Everything is a journey. Like till the end of your life, it's a journey. So keep, exploring
And
the
what do you
journey.
know about the end of life? So while you are preaching for the end of life, I think you know very little about it. I can say, given my perspective of age, I can challenge you on that. I say, look, you will know many things, but you hardly know anything till the end of your life. uh, okay. Anyway, what's your own idea of your future?
What, could you please repeat?
What's your own idea of your future?
My future. So I feel that, like, one thing that I want to do in my life, like, my goal is to impact at least a few people, positively in my life. Like, for example, like my teachers had a huge role to play in my life, and I'm forever thankful to them. Had they not, taught me the right things and opened me to the, to other opportunities, I don't know where I would have been. So where I have reached today, like, I'm happy with what I do. So I feel that I've reached here because of my teachers. So it could be anyone. So I feel that if you just sustainably, like, it maybe I could sponsor someone's education, or just impact someone positively, someone's lead, मतलब, coax them to take the right decision in life so that they can lead sustainably, become better.
Yeah.
So it could be anything, like, civil servants do, do this, they impact so many lives. So I don't know if I can impact at a huge scale, but at least a few people, leave a positive impact in a few people's life. It could be in any way. I'm not sure how. That is what I want to figure out now, that how can I, with my skills, with my interests, you know make lives of at least some people better, sustainably better.
Okay. All right. That's a great idea. Hopefully you will get to do it at some point. Is there anything else you want to add here?
um I feel that so I think one thing that I want to share is, I want to ask you mainly that, so
Okay.
you have worked for the World Bank, and how was the experience for you to work for an organization like that, that is like known as like the epitome of, public policy and that. So how was your experience there, and how do you feel like when, decisions that you take in any way, indirectly or so, if it impacts someone, through your research or through any decision or anything, if you how can you impact someone? So
Okay. I will answer that question. First, I never had a job at the World Bank, but that was a decision. I didn't want a job anywhere. There's nothing wrong with the World Bank, but I'm not the kind of person who can do a job. I can work, but I can't hold a job. I can't do the same thing again and go to office at the same time, come back at the same time. That I would get fired within a week. So I'm not the kind who can have a job. Okay, but that's a disadvantage. It's also an advantage because as a consultant, one of my key jobs was at the World Bank, at most places, they're not to do what they are doing, but to give them ideas on what's the new thing to do. Okay, so that was really my role, not to say, okay, this is what the World Bank does in energy, but okay, what should it do in energy? And actually not just theory, but to actually put it into practice. Okay, so I was always looking for projects that had great impact on the people's lives, right? And in fact, one of the energy projects that I helped design for Uganda in 2000, my boss and I spent 2 days thinking of the title of the project because we wanted to make it clear that this is not an energy project. Because energy is not, you don't do electricity because it's electricity. So we finally called it Energy for Rural Transformation. Just need to say it in a few words what this project is and what it is. So yes, the projects were designed to have a large impact to improve first the quality of life of people and eventually also to give some income earning opportunities. Because once the electricity comes, the first thing is quality of life improves. And it's only later that you are able to use that electricity, especially in the rural areas, in economic activities. Because there's to switch from manual to electric is a capital intensive process and a different manufacturing process, and not everybody can easily shift. Okay, so it takes time. But so yes, I was always interested in impact, and I think the projects I did, though I'd never studied energy at all, okay, I have no idea what it is, but still, when they asked me to help, I mean, the first real big project I did was for solar panels on roofs, rural roofs in Indonesia. At the time, I was a consultant for the US Postal Service, so you can hardly think that I knew anything about it. But one of the guys there said, listen, stop wasting your time and do something that has an impact. So I said, okay, fine, I will try. And we did succeed. And it's actually, we copied the design into Sri Lanka and finally into Bangladesh. And today, Bangladesh has 6 million rural households with solar panels. It's the biggest in the world. And it's far more reliable than normal electricity supply, because those things don't fail. Okay, and it's working well. And my job was to design the subsidy scheme and to get that scheme approved by the politicians and by the World Bank and all. So it was a great experience. I can put it this way. It was really great experience. The project in Indonesia was tiny. The World Bank lends like a project $500 million, $400 million to Indonesia. This was only 20 million. It's a very tiny project, but the president of Indonesia inaugurated it. And we got a letter of thanks from the president of the World Bank. So it was a great project. And after that, we did several innovative projects across Africa, traveled extensively in rural Africa. No electricity for 50 miles, harsh life, but you can handle it. So it was a great experience, I would say. At that time, the president of the World Bank had made a point that we are not just a commercial bank, we are also a knowledge bank. That has sort of faded over time. So there was no real difficulty. It was tough, but it was not impossible to get an innovative project in. It was tough, let me tell you. But I'm half a bureaucrat and I know how to get things through. World Bank is a bureaucracy. I know how to get things done through bureaucracy. I no longer have any work there because partly, as I said, the appetite for innovation has kind of declined. And also I cannot travel in those rural areas anymore at my age. But I had a great experience. It was a wonderful time. And it was made even better because I didn't have to follow the usual norms of a job. Because if I had a job, then you have to do things on time and this and that. I didn't have those, but I had an office there for 12 years. So I was de facto staff, but not legally staff. And it was a great experience and a wonderful team of dedicated people who were the practical types who would say, no, you are talking nonsense, this won't work. I would say, fine, I'll come up with another idea tomorrow. One of these days, you will find that there's an idea you agree with. So that was the job. It was a very, very good experience, I would say. But unfortunately or fortunately, China now lends much more money than the World Bank. You can see there's a story in today's Financial Times that China has lent so much money to Laos. It is 10 times what the World Bank could possibly lend to Laos. And they are drowning in debt. This is drowning in Chinese debt. They have a fancy new train which runs at twice the speed that Indian trains run. Right? Maybe not twice, but at least 50% more than what Indian Vande Bharat runs, maybe twice actually, or what the actual speed of Vande Bharat is. And they have gleaming new buildings and so on, but it's all too costly and they can't afford to repay the loan. China is not a gift, it's a loan, and they have no money to repay the loan. Okay, so it's drowning in debt. So the World Bank is losing its status because there's far too much money from China all across the world. And you can see it in Sri Lanka, you can see it in Pakistan, that there's too much. So the World Bank has no longer the money advantage. It has still a little bit of knowledge advantage, but there's a statement in the report today that says one of the leaders from Africa told a key person from the World Bank, that from China we get an airport, from the World Bank we get a lecture. So, the world has changed, and Chinese government build it, and they don't ask any questions, they just do it. Okay, but they leave us with a big bill. It's very hard to repay. It's a loan, it's not a gift. Anyway, so I enjoyed it, but I think if I had a choice, probably at this age or at this young age, I would say, look, the world has changed. Okay, and the World Bank is no longer going to be dominant. Certainly in India and countries like India, the World Bank is a side player, has no influence whatsoever. And even in Indonesia and all the countries are now not, so it's mainly in Africa, but even in Africa, China is there everywhere. So you are not really able to say that we are going to make, but the Chinese aren't in rural electrification or in rural areas. They're mainly in infrastructure. So there you still have some options, I would say. Okay, that is my answer to your question. Anything else?
Oh, so just one last thing. How do you have this learning mindset, like even, after so many years? Because, these days, the thing is that we study for a few years and then you get into a job and, people feel that, okay, it's the end, whatever. So how do you have this thing? I can see so many books in your background, and it's just
Well,
general, how do you
I
keep
would
this
say
learning mindset?
I would say it's no more really so much learning as trying to put out what I know. I don't think it's right to call it fresh learning. I would say it's more like preaching. Okay, this is what I know and I want to pass it on. It's more like preaching and that, rather than learning many new things. And the innovation is now in things like this channel and doing some practical work, rather than we are doing. I am trying to organize some development of small towns in India, and you can see 2 videos on my channel about it. So it's really practical stuff, but that's not academic learning. That is actually saying, listen, I'm trying to take my knowledge and turn it into something that is concrete and useful and practical. It's not really thinking academic research anymore. It's not that. Right? It's not really learning, except learning on the ground. Okay, so I think it's like a culmination at a certain age. You think, okay, now let's see whether what I know and I can summarize or I can put into practice that, rather than saying I can publish one more article or somewhere. So op-eds, yes, but not really academic work. That I think the younger people have more energy and time for it than I do. So, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, then let's end it here today. We'll come
sir.
back and maybe talk to you in a year to see how you're doing. Okay, so let's end the
Sure.
recording now. Bye, everybody. I'll be
Bye.
back with another Indian or another person from another young country or an expert. Till then, bye.
Bye.